Weil die alle in Auschwitz schon abgenommen wurden.
No, this is not my family.
Mandel.
You can take a look. This is your grandma and sisters. I think this is a prisoner number.
Ja.
The reason. Jewish.
Ungewöhnlich.
Ja,
Hallo,
ja,
erstmal.
Das ist Miss Mendel, das sind ihre Großeltern.
Okay. My question is, when they gas people immediately, they didn't even register them.
Die haben nicht aufgeschrieben, wenn sie
Ganz genau.
Menschen ermordet
Also
haben.
aus dem Waggon oder Zug raus und gleich aussortiert und ohne nochmal aufzuschreiben.
Dear Ursula, I ask myself, how do you feel with our relationship? Do you think I expect you to ask for my forgiveness? No, it is not your fault. You had nothing to do with it, as Eva Kor says. But still you feel responsible. And maybe I'm still looking for someone to say, I am sorry for what happened to your family.
How can you forgive someone who killed your parents, your children?
Those who are able to forgive, and it doesn't mean they say it was okay, it was not so bad. It's nothing to do with that. Those are able to live, use their strength, their energy to help other people. Those that haven't managed are very drawn into themselves and have a hard time using their energy for anything else out there. And even though I knew nothing of my grandfather exactly, by having learned in history class and the books and everything available, it is right out in the open. You knew, well, he still was part of it. I believe forgiveness is the solution because it's the only way to move forward.
What do you have to forgive for?
What do I have to forgive for? My things I have to forgive are very small.
I want to say that I cannot forgive in the name of my grandparents. And I'm not sure they would forgive also. So forgiveness is a very complicated word for someone who was brought up with this memory and fears.
Those people who survived, how did they survive? I focus on the living. We pledge to do something to repair the future. Let's take a moment of silence.
Ich denke, es wäre gut, wenn wir einander grüßen würden. Wir wissen nicht, ob wir uns noch einmal wiedersehen. Wir haben viel gemeinsam erlebt.
From here we disperse, and it would be good if we greet one another. We don't know when we will see each other again, and we've experienced a lot together.
I hope it wasn't too hard for you.
grandmother was a Nazi till the day she died, which was in the 70s. I think she was born 1900 and died about 1972.
Do you feel any guilt?
Yeah, guilt. It's more like sorrow, maybe you could say. Sorrow is more the word, because to make such a strong judgment about one's ancestors that you say you want to have no part of them, that's pretty bad, no? When I had my tubes tied, that was a bit later, did it become really clear what that had to do with my not wanting any more part of that family. My brother did the same thing.
I felt guilt. I still had to ask for forgiveness, and whenever I meet somebody who suffered through this, I will ask for forgiveness.
אנחנו צריכים לסלוח, זה unforgivable. זה העומס הכי גדול שניצולי השואה לוקחים איתם. החיים כל כך קשים, הכאב כל כך חזק. אי אפשר להתפטר מזה? מי אומר את זה?
Do you feel also resentment towards your father?
For me? No, I would not say resentment. I mean, he was so strong against war in his education to me that it never came in my thoughts that he would be an SS man. You didn't know.
You didn't know?
I also, as a child, never asked. It was like a cloud of silence.
Dear Ursula, how are you? I'm home now. Is it still snowing in Germany? I told my parents about our meeting. I think they prefer not to ask too many questions. My father said, "Why Germany?" My mother couldn't really face it. She just said, "What do you have with those awful people?" Something like that. Next week I will meet Thomas Hubel, the German spiritual teacher who deals with Holocaust memory. He's coming to Israel to do a meditation workshop. I know he was the first person to convince you to talk about your family history. Maybe he can help me let go of the past.
Close your eyes if you want. And just take a few breaths.
After the Holocaust, life went another way. You know, this is a life-changing for the whole planet in a way. This is a life-changing event. Even if this happened 60 years ago, the effects are still alive. In my perspective, all those separate human beings are somehow interconnected, conscious or unconscious. This suppression and avoidance is still living through the people. This was passed on. We need to feel what it means. If we don't feel what it means, it stays an intellectual discussion, but it doesn't become a holistic experience. There is a strong response to this. But I was amazed that already in the first event that we made in Berlin, there were already 500 or 600 people. There is an opening to look at what happened really deeply, conscious or unconscious. As far as I understood Eva Kor, what she said is that the liberation that she experienced by forgiving, the liberation to forgive.
Dear Ursula, after meeting Thomas, I am still confused. I think many Germans don't know much details about the history of their families during the war. They go through the process, but don't fully understand what it means. Nevertheless, I think you are amazingly brave, and the fact that you are not willing to leave this baggage under the surface is inspirational to me. As for me, I have decided to postpone my decision about studying in Germany till next year. I think I'm not yet ready to take this step. I am waiting for your visit in Israel next spring. All the best, Karnit.
בקרוב תגיע אורסולה לביקור בישראל אצל קרנית.